Now, Job's wife gets short shrift in our understanding of the book of Job. She's only got one line in the entire book, and we don't even know her name. All we know of her is from this one statement: "Are you still trying to maintain your integrity? Curse God and die." Now, in chapter 1, when Job loses all his livestock, most of his servants and hired hands, and his children, you know what he didn't lose? He didn't lose his wife. Perhaps this was Satan's plan to add to Job's suffering by leaving him with someone who would not encourage him. Some theologians refer to Job's wife as Satan's handmaiden, but I think not. Consider what God said to Satan in chapter 1. Do whatever you want with everything he possesses, but don't harm him physically. What does Genesis chapter 2, verse 24 say? This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Job's wife is not his possession. She's part of him. If Job and his wife are considered as one, then she would have been exempt from Satan's attacks. But we must remember that everything that Job suffered in chapter 1, she suffered as well. That wasn't just Job's livestock, it was their livestock. He didn't just lose his livelihood, they lost their livelihood. Job didn't just lose his children, they lost their children. And while Job's wife is still grieving the loss of family and the loss of fortune, now her husband is suddenly stricken with this strange disease, and he's taken up residence in the garbage dump. It's possible that Job's wife, she's taken all that she can take. She's reached the end of her limit. And maybe she says something cruel and hurtful because she is living in a place of hurt and confusion. Couples that lose a child sometimes get divorced because the damage that's done to their relationship in that suffering is irreversible. But it's also possible that when she said this, she wasn't angry, she wasn't hurtful. Maybe she was offering a kind of remedy. She saw that Job lived righteously, but his righteous living didn't prevent this unprovoked tragedy in their lives. So maybe she thinks if he curses God, he'll die and he'll be out of his misery. Sometimes when we sit in vigil with the dying, we can find ourselves hoping for a quick end, a painless passing to bring their suffering to an end. If this is what she was doing, she wouldn't be much different from Job's friends who would later come and offer advice that they thought was helpful, but was actually the last thing that Job needed to hear. So again, we're given very little information about Job's wife, and I'm not trying to rewrite Scripture here. This is the book of Job, not the book of Mr. and Mrs. Job. But I want us to remember that she also suffered the same losses as Job. And while she may not have been afflicted with the same disease that he had, his illness was an additional trial for her as well. She was going to lose one last thing that she had. And it's worth noting, Job did not call his wife a foolish woman. All he said was that she was talking like a foolish woman. So maybe Job, this man of integrity, the finest man in all the earth, maybe he clearly understood that he and his wife were fellow travelers on this trail of sorrows.